So think about this for a second. Does where you're focusing your attention right this very moment literally change your body's immune response? Most of us, we just assume attention is this passive mental experience, like a flashlight just sort of illuminating whatever we want to look at. But what if it's not passive at all? What if your focused attention is actually physical code that directly commands your biology? Welcome to today's Explainer. We are completely tearing down and redefining how you think about the mind-body connection. We're diving into some massive breakthrough research showing that attention isn't just a mental experience. It's actually an active, spatial, and mathematical biological signal. It is highly consequential. By the end of this, you're going to see exactly how shifting your focus inwards acts like a literal remote control for your physical health. All right, here is our cognitive roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. The paradigm of attention. 2. Interoceptive precision and allostasis. 3. The histamine skin test. 4. The OFC valuation engine. 5. Depressive attentional dysregulation. And finally, 6. Spatial context and regulation. Starting off with part 1. The paradigm of attention. Moving beyond the mental spotlight. Let's just completely dismantle that old spotlight metaphor right now. The science actually proves that attention is always a spatial contextual. It's a deliberate, active biological parameter, and it centers around this crucial concept, the allostatic preparation signal. Basically, under predictive models of brain-body control, your brain is a prediction machine, constantly guessing what your body needs next. So when you voluntarily aim your attention at a specific part of your body, you're sending a spatial contextual signal. You are actively telling your brain about localized demands, which lets it immediately allocate metabolic and immune resources right to that exact spot. It's kind of like a restaurant kitchen getting the prep orders in right before the dinner rush. You are literally prepping your immune system just through focus. Which brings us right to section 2, interoceptive precision and allostasis, controlling the internal model. What's really interesting here is this stark contrast between these two states. On the one hand, we have external distraction. Turning your attention outward completely disrupts your body's regulatory prep. It forces your system to rely on these incredibly slow, high-latency external cues. But on the flip side, look at interoceptive precision. By deliberately tuning inward, by really engaging with those internal bodily sensations, you're not just doing some neat mindfulness trick. You are mathematically controlling your internal model. This attentional weighting actually updates your physiology in real time. Let's move to section 3, the histamine skin test, visualizing the proof. Okay, so how do we actually prove this abstract concept? Well, researchers needed a way to measure this in real time. So, in a fascinating clinical trial published in Nature Human Behavior, they induced acute skin inflammation on participants. They used a simple histamine skin prick test to create a highly controlled, incredibly itchy, burning welt right there on the subject's arms. Now, here is where it gets incredibly cool. They set up a dual condition. Every subject maintained their gaze on a computer screen, but they were given entirely different instructions for their attention. One group directed their focus externally, watching a distracting video, but the other group was told to focus deeply inward, right onto that burning sensation on their arm. So we have the exact same physical injury, but a completely different spatial contextual focus. And the results? It is absolutely staggering. Voluntarily directing interoceptive attention inward produced a markedly more regulated immune response. It actually shrunk the physical inflammation. We're talking about a 1.5-fold smaller inflammatory wheal and flare compared to the distracted group. No medication, just focus. This proves, without a doubt, that where you place your spatial attention is a biologically consequential act that actively alters your physical tissue. And check this out, the recovery dynamics are just mind-blowing. Nearly 90% of the individuals who focused internally showed rapid physiological stabilization and recovery. Compare that to just 46% of the distracted folks. Just by dropping the external distractions and dialing up that interoceptive precision, their bodies resolve the inflammation at almost double the rate. It is literally like they gave their immune system a cheat code. Mechanistically, we actually know exactly how this works. This biological stabilization is driven by an active, top-down autonomic route. The internal focus engages the parasympathetic vagal pathways, and we know this for sure because it's objectively proven by significantly elevated heart rate variability, or HRV. Your focused spatial attention acts as the literal ignition switch for your vagus nerve. All right, moving into section 4, The OFC valuation engine, the brain's mathematical controller. Let's shift up into the brain's neurobiology for a second. How does the brain actually assign value to this interoceptive information? Well, it brilliantly illustrates a duality in how we process things. On one side, you have this slow, exhausting metabolic drag of sequential verbal thinking, what we can call bubble sort hell. It's like a computer just chugging along on bad code. But on the flip side, you have the P equals 0.000 snap. That is zero latency, unshielded somatic alignment. It's pure spatial attention. When you rely on that direct physicalist constraint, your brain operates with unbelievable stopwatch precise efficiency. And here is the underlying math of how that happens. Your orbitofrontal cortex, or OFC valuation engine, assigns value and steers this attention. It dynamically combines abstract action symbols in the ventral premotor cortex. Think of them almost like visual coding blocks snapping perfectly together. This creates an absolute geometric fit that forces biological synchronization instantly, and it triggers real reciprocal dopamine and orexin activity in your brain. Which takes us to Section 5, depressive attentional dysregulation when the loop breaks. Now we have to ask, what happens when this incredible mathematical system breaks down? Well, depression isn't just a mood, it is a measurable physical dysregulation. The brain networks responsible for steering attention actually shift into a low-frequency, high-latency state. Scientists can track this through increased aperiodic exponents in frontal limbic regions. Basically, the system gets locked in a flat, unexcitable loop, like a jammed gear. You can see the difference clearly here. A healthy OFC effortlessly and robustly prioritizes high-value spatial context and reward-associated stimuli. But the depressive loop physically blunts that sensitivity. It fails to preferentially steer attention, trapping the person in anhedonia, a state where achieving that crucial interoceptive precision becomes incredibly difficult. Finally, Section 6, Spatial Context and Regulation, the ontological math. This is where we pull it all together, merging the raw biology from the skin test with the high-level computational architecture of your mind. Under advanced computational frameworks like quantum-behaved particle swarm optimization, your biological trajectory is mathematically forced to pull back to stable baselines. Basically, absolute syntactic invariance assigns an infinite penalty to low-resolution flattening. Meaning, in a state of high interoceptive precision, your physical focus acts as a hard constraint the brain simply cannot ignore. The physical action literally is the algorithm securing your somatic baseline. This leads us to a profoundly important realization from the researchers. I'm just going to read this directly from Nature Human Behavior. Situated within predictive and allostatic models of brain-body control, our results reframe perception as biologically consequential rather than merely experiential. I mean, let that sink in for a second. Your internal perceptions, your deliberate spatial attention, they are active, physical regulators of your reality. Which leaves us with this final thought. We've seen the proof. The allostatic preparation signal is very real. Where you aim your focus physically preps your system and literally alters your immune response. So, I challenge you to evaluate your own somatic architecture today. What is the true physiological cost of all your daily distractions? And more importantly, where is your interoceptive baseline anchored right now? Thanks for exploring this explainer with me. Keep focusing, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.